know, that's one of my favourite sights in nature, the courtship of the crested newts. And it can go on for several weeks before the pair eventually mate successfully, the male depositing a spermatophore for the female to collect and fertilise her eggs. And then within the next few days or weeks, she'll go on to begin laying those eggs. Usually just a few each day, and over the course of several weeks, she can actually lay many hundreds of eggs. In the wild, newts lay their eggs on aquatic vegetation, individually wrapping each egg in a separate leaf. Of course, plants can also be used for the newts to lay their eggs on in captivity, but often we substitute this for plastic. The material which we often use is shredded plastic food bags. Many breeders use black or opaque plastic, but the advantage of the food bags is that the eggs can easily be seen through the transparent plastic. Once the plastic becomes quite full with eggs, it can be removed and placed in a separate rearing container. Occasionally, newts will eat their own eggs if they are left in situ. They are placed in a small tub with some water from the tank, then floated in the rearing container until the temperatures reach the same level before being tipped in. A small stone has been tied into the bottom of the bag to ensure that the eggs remain submerged. The time taken for the eggs to hatch can vary depending on temperature, but within the next few weeks, small larvae should be seen lying motionless on the bottom of the container. This one is a melanoid Italian crested newt. Here it is lying on its side and may appear dead, but this is quite normal for the first day or two after hatching. And here we have an albino great crested newt. Within a couple of days they will start feeding and they will need lots of Daphnia to eat. I've just been to collect my first load of Daphnia for the season, which I collect from small vernal pools like this one. The Daphnia is easily collected with the use of a small aquarium hand net. These pools normally dry up during the summer months, so there are no fish here and very few predators. Just lots of Daphnia, a few scuds and a few mosquito larvae which won't do any harm. They are then emptied into a small bucket. It's important to give the Daphnia enough space. Don't cram them into a small tub or they may be starved of oxygen and be dead by the time you reach home. It's usually a good idea to wear wellies, as you may have to get into the shallow water to get in and out of the best spots of the pond. Always take care and don't get out of your depth. The Daphnia are normally in the shallow areas. Half of the Daphnia is fed off to the newt larvae right away, and the rest is left in the bucket, where it will survive for a week or so, as long as it's not too overcrowded, and it's left in the water in which it was collected, which contains lots of natural nutrients. With lots of Daphnia to eat, the newt larvae will rapidly grow. This one is a great crested newt. And this one is an albino great crested newt. Our line of great crested newts, including the albinos, originate from animals collected by Charles Snell in Kent in 1975. Since 1981, it has been an offence to take great crested newts from the wild, but captive bred ones are perfectly legal to keep. This larva, resting on the plastic food bag, is a melanoid Italian crested newt. In this footage, you may see that as well as crested newt larvae, we also have frog tadpoles in the same containers. This is something that I've done for the last few years with great success. Tadpole waste provides food for Daphnia, which in turn grow and reproduce, providing food for the newt larvae. Although the Daphnia will help to break down the waste, some water changes will be necessary to keep the water fresh. If the rearing containers are positioned outdoors with open tops, the rain will take care of much of the water changes. Any other water used should be aged and dechlorinated tap water or rainwater, or water taken from the adults' tanks. The growth of the larvae will vary depending on temperature and food availability and quality. Larvae reared indoors with stable temperatures tend to grow rather quicker than those reared outdoors with big variations between daytime and nighttime temperatures. As the larvae grow, they can progress from Daphnia to bloodworm and whiteworm. Growing larvae should be fed every day and should always have full bellies. The time taken for the larvae to reach metamorphosis will depend on food availability and temperature, and also the species of newt. On average, development takes around 3 months. As the larvae grow larger, they will begin to produce more waste. Any excrement and uneaten food should be removed. This can be done with a turkey baster or small siphon. Of course, you must be careful not to suck up larvae when doing water changes and removing waste. A good tip is to use a small gauge tube which is cut extra long in length with several coils. This will slow down the flow of water. If the small larvae have been kept without lids, it is important that before they reach metamorphosis, they are moved to secure enclosures with tight-fitting lids. As metamorphosis approaches, the larvae begin to develop their adult colours. Their head shape begins to change and their gills start to reduce in size. At this point, they are prone to drowning if they cannot exit the water, particularly if it is deep. By keeping the depth to just a few inches and giving them somewhere to rest outside of the water, there shouldn't be any problems. After a few months, the juveniles can be moved on to more permanent housing which will last them into adulthood. This adult housing is left uncovered but does have a large rimmed edge to prevent escape. Our newt room is a converted garage with no heating or cooling, so the temperatures fluctuate with the weather outdoors, and the newts come into breeding condition naturally in the spring. I hope this video has provided some insight on how to breed crested newts. If you've not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, then please do so. And until next time, thank you for watching.